All right, here we go. Time to settle in. Get my headsets on so I can hear the deliberations. Welcome, folks, into the community. I'm wearing my, I'll move my camera down so you can see. Thanks to, all right, there's my useful idiot shirt, folks. Thanks to the folks at Corporal News Network again for knocking it out of the park when it comes to merch. Guys, I spent all of my clothing budget on you. Stop putting out hilarious topical t-shirts. Last one was Iraqi Ivaki with Jenny Carignan. So Privyet, everybody. This is like the Super Bowl kind of for the Hard to Kill podcast. I'm not gonna lie. I really only saw an uptick in people tuning in once I started talking about this issue that literally nobody else was talking about. I wasn't going to post the video. I wasn't going to post the conversation that me and Catherine had that's going on a year ago plus, because I didn't think it was podcast worthy in terms of like putting on YouTube. I didn't really think that it would hit. And I was really concerned that I was going to get my YouTube channel shut down again. So turns out I took a gamble, and I remember the conversation on my group chat with my boys. They're like, "Dude, did you check out your video?" I'm like, "Nah, man, I got 100 views." Like, no, guess again. So thank you for tuning into that. And this is the culmination of all that. So folks, if you haven't done so already, the point of this live is I can't stream the actual live feed from the courtroom. That is very verboten, but you need to register. And I don't know if you can still register. If you haven't done so yet, I'm going to post the actual link here. I posted it in the initial comments, but if you can still actually log in, you can tune in here at the federal government portal. From there, you can comment here, as I'll be commenting, doing kind of like a live walkthrough, talk through type thing. If there's any huge bombs that get dropped, we'll share them, and I'll be pulling up a few of the documents here, namely the statement of claim. And if they bring up certain individuals during the actual proceedings, I don't know how long this is going to take. I've never seen one of these before. This is kind of an intro to the legal system for me in Canada. So I'm getting an education through this whole proceeding. And let's get into the comments, because guys, we already got 44 people here. So if you're tuning in from the Vets for Freedom Network, welcome. I'm streaming on Facebook too. For the first time, I got it to actually work this time, which is pretty cool. So welcome if you're tuning in from Facebook, and obviously from YouTube as well. If you haven't followed any of the accounts yet, whatever one you're actually listening to this on, please do so. Hit whatever button is required to get the notifications for future events and shows that are coming down the pipe. So let's just tune in and see if the usuals are here. We got a few new ones here. Welcome, AOG Sigma. For actually, I think you just changed your username, but kick-ass Catherine, right on. Yeah, Catherine has sent me her initial pre-game pump-up video. I don't know if it's posted on X yet. I'm going to head over there now and get that feed up and running. This is a big day for everybody in the Canadian Armed Forces, whether you're kicked out due to the CAF COVID mandates or not. This is part of the soul of the military, right? Those that fought and served in Canadian Armed Forces, just to have their careers wiped off the face of the earth because they wanted to stand up to medical tyranny, is going to be a big day for the country, and nobody else is covering this story except the Hard to Kill podcast. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure to share widely. Let's head over to Catherine's account with Valour Legal. Let's see here. Pinned posts. She didn't post it just yet, so look, I'll share it with you guys here, just old school. I don't know how to act. It's on my phone, so let's just show it here. And hopefully you guys will be able to hear it loud and clear. Yes, should I be working? Yes, yes, actually not. Been waiting for this for a while, right on. So here we go. Let's see here. You guys can hear this. I'll be doing it like this. Okay. So let's put that up here. See it here.
Good morning, everyone. Are you ready for the big day? I sure am. I'm kitted and booted. I'm locked and loaded. Let's go win this thing. Take care.
Yeah, right on. This is cool, man. Not gonna lie. So Catherine's fired up. Hope you guys are too. Let it begin. Absolutely. James, welcome back. Good morning, everyone. Oma, Ashala, go. Ça va bien? Ici, hello, gang. Let's kick some ass. Merci. Freedom Honey. Yeah, buddy. Let's go. 4% today is our day. What's the 4% in reference to? Oh, it's this. Oh, God. It's this thing. Yeah. Now I get it. Still early in the morning. I got a coffee on the go. If you haven't got your coffees yet, I haven't yet been led into the proceeding yet. It's 11:27, so they're not late. They're just not early. It is 3. Haley Noel, cool. Thanks for tuning in. Thick Beaver, is there a Rumble account? I'm assuming you mean me. Yeah, there is. I've put like 2 videos on there. It's just I've only got so much bandwidth. Haley Noel, yes, thanks for tuning in as well. Let's go 4%. Yeah, James, absolutely. You're welcome. Thanks for hosting this and all the exposure. Yeah, man, there's a lot more to come. Like I got some more coming down the pipe. This is honestly, that's always in the fourth quarter. You know, I think in terms of quarters, the fourth quarter is always cuckoo bananas. When I was a teacher, it was always the worst because it's the start of school. Everybody's like back from the holidays, summer holidays, everything's cranked up. You know, there's likely going to be a no confidence vote next week. I'm just throwing that out there. So we might be going to the polls. It's just pure chaos right now. It's just going to be pure chaos. This lawsuit, ODS, thanks. Yeah, hashtag 4%. Owen Sinclair, thanks for tuning in. Absolutely. We're waiting for this. Awesome. And Coraline Jones, greetings from the land of Finch. I don't know what that means, but maybe you could describe it in the comments. So I'm just going to show the statement of claim. If you haven't seen this yet, right? So there is, I think Catherine mentioned 200,000 pages of evidence. 200,000 pages of evidence. Oh boy. So let's just get into the statement of claim. Now, if you haven't seen the statement of claim, I'm just going to pull it up here. So this is a public document. This is it. Well, this is the, okay. So I'm going to share this. This is only 21 pages, not the hundreds of pages document. So let me just pull this up on the screen here. Now, if you guys are not clear on what this proceeding actually is, and this is my understanding, I'm not a lawyer, but this is a mass tort. So not a class action. So what it means is, let me just do one thing at a time here so I don't get too confused. There we go. Boom. Okay. So it's a mass tort, meaning each of the individual plaintiffs, so there's 330, are essentially bringing their case to the courts, but only represented by one lawyer, one law firm, which is Catherine from Valour Legal. So that being said, each one of these individuals has to be defended by the Crown. And it makes it a real pain in the ass for the Crown. And I don't know if they're ready, but we'll see, right? We'll see. I'm really curious to know what their arguments are going to be. This is the reply to the statement of defense. Okay. Actually, maybe I should, the statement, maybe I should start with the statement of defense first, because that would make more sense logically. So let's go to Koalitsa. This is the statement of claim. This is the big beast. So these are all the folks that are filing the lawsuit, right? So the list goes on and on and on. And like on the high profile side, we've got Dallas, who's involved in this. So shout out to Dallas Alexander, who's if you haven't seen his X account, let's just go to his X account actually, and I can show you what he posted yesterday, which is pretty cool if you haven't seen it. Dallas Alexander. Here we go. So
demask. Just freedom.
Here we go.
Here's a little proof I'm not anti-mask.
And oh, we're starting. Unable to join this meeting. You've already joined this meeting from another device. I have? Oh boy. Where have I joined this meeting? Let's go to Zoom. The government's already preventing me from joining. I got to make sure I'm not sharing my screen. So let's remove that for now. And let's go to Zoom. Oh boy. All right. If you guys are in, let me know in the comments. Okay. Let's go back here. Probably just kicked me out because I was in too early. Open Zoom US.
Recording.
Here we go.
Calls file
We're in.
T1296-23 between Francesco Gabriel Paliza and others versus.
Okay. I definitely cannot have the audio playing. That's for sure. And so I'm going to audio settings here. Road A1. Okay, cool. So right now it's just the Crown and Catherine with co-counsel, it seems. Okay. All right, cool. So the Crown has just made it clear he's not attacking veterans or members of the armed forces, but just their statement of claim. Okay, cool. Only talking about the legal impact. Okay. All right, let's pull up the statement of defense because they're calling the statement of defense said the initial claim was vexatious. Vexatious, but it's not against the members. It's the claim. The lawyer's making it very clear from the Crown. Oh, wow. He's saying the grievance system is the appropriate means of addressing this, not the courts. Wow. So AOG, a liberal judge. I don't know. I don't know who's presiding. Who is presiding? I don't know. I don't know where to find that information. Yeah, thanks to the judge. Just heads up to the release. Do not record or share the hearings. If this harm the case, recording is prohibited. That's correct. Yep. Yeah, we can't. We can do tweets, live tweets. That's okay, but absolutely no recordings, no screenshots, etc. Ça dit, so homologage sur la justice, le fait qu'on ne peut pas voir la procédure en direct. No, you can. Absolutely. Log in with the link that I posted up top. I'm watching it en direct right now. Lawyers calling case conspiracy theories. Yeah, not directly, but be interesting to see what their arguments are going to be like. Yeah, James, that's a good point. You're one of the 50 plus members who got 5F'd, and our grievances are all suspended pending this case. Yeah, so it seems kind of weird that would be the argument, that it should be in the grievance process, which we know isn't being done properly, right? Like, I think Ayer had hundreds or thousands on his desk that he just kind of left for Jenny Carignan. Yeah, Owen, vexatious. I know, vexatious. I'm trying to find it here in the statement of claim. Statement of defense on defendant. You know, you got a lot of evidence when you have X, Y, and Z appendixes. X, Y, and Z. Shit. All right. I was AOG. Sorry, I was just tuning in there to see. From my impression, that the lawyer's trying to dismiss a bunch of the evidence. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. Saying that it's just not presented properly with proper referencing. I've never been in a courtroom, so this is kind of new to me. But seems part and parcel of what they would want to do, right? So AOG, you've got a grievance that's still stuck in limbo. Yeah, useless system. Yeah, you're right. The reason why it's in the courts is because the grievance system doesn't work. Like that's if that's not circular logic to me, then I don't know what is. Gray Man, Pandemic 2.0 is coming. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be something that is going to be like substantial, right? If anybody has any links to mainstream media covering this, please share them in the comments because I haven't seen any. And the lawyer's not talking into the mic, so it's really hard to hear him right now. No worries, Sean. This is my Thursday after. This is my Thursday now. This is what I do. It's a hell of a lot better than teaching grade 7 math. I can tell you that much. True North and New York Times are apparently watching. Cool. I have no idea what he's talking about right now. Is it my understanding that he's trying to get this thrown out based off of this here? Does anybody have a comment on that? The claim is an improper pleading because he said it's scandalous, frivolous, and vexatious. Just reading what's on the screen here. Constitutes an abusive process. Consists of bald allegations without any material facts necessary to support the causes of action alleged. Has little to no connection between the allegation of the claim and the circumstances alleged in relation to individual plaintiffs. Does not disclose a cause of action generally including against the individually named defendants. Provides a brief overview for each of the plaintiffs that has insufficient material facts. Yeah, so the plaintiffs must engage the grievance process rather than bringing the claim. Okay, so he mentioned that. Plaintiffs are entitled to compensation and the claims are barred. The claim is without merit. Okay, that's where he's at. Okay. I'm actually going to share. I'll share the statement of defense here, folks. So I'm going to put this in the. You can click on this, and if you haven't seen it already, there we go. So that's what I'm reading right now. It's the statement of defense. It says the claim is without merit. because the COVID-19 pandemic was a fundamental threat to the lives of Canadians, the Canadian economy, and the ability of CAF to carry out its mandate. Vaccination forms a key component in protecting the health of CAF members. The CAF's mandate. The CAF's enactment of the policy and directives was reasonable and does not give rise to a duty of care to play, but it was already deemed that it was a human rights abuse. Okay. In addition, the vaccination was safe, effective, and accepted as part of a proper response to the pandemic. Okay, the only issue I have here is that, from what I understand from Catherine's statement of claim, is that this isn't about vaccination. It's about the abuse of power of kicking folks out and not following policy. So it seems like the defense has focused in on this, but that's not the actual stated reason for bringing up this claim. It's that you wrongfully terminated people and didn't follow your own rules. Would like to know what you guys are thinking in the comments. So head over to Sean. Catherine proved that the grievance system was exhausted. Also, the proof that the grievance system works will also be shot down based on Catherine's new evidence directly refuting that. Yeah, it's going to be interesting when she gets up to see what she has to say. I feel like I'm back like forward deployed with 2 headsets on. Like I got like 0 in my ear, and then I got like the platoon in the other ear. It's testing my skills right now. It's testing my skills. Agreement. You have the right to refuse an unlawful order. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Illegal jab mandates. Yeah. And like it's really important. Like this case isn't litigating the mandates. It's litigating people getting kicked out because of the mandates. And I think that's a really important difference. And it seems like the defense is not grasping that. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so he's setting up precedent. The lawyer is setting up precedent to dismiss the case. ODST, they used an administrative way to kick us out instead of allowing us to have a court martial, because if we did court martial, we would have had a 100% win because the precedent was set before. Right. It was set by the senior NCO and anthrax, I believe. Right. So Canadian anthrax vaccine issue. Here we go. Charge state as anthrax vaccine ruled unsafe. Wow. Shoot. It was published in 2000, so I can't open it, and I'm not a subscriber. So based off of what I understand from this, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I believe it's section 152 or 125 that relates to vaccines in the Code of Service Discipline, or is it KRNOs, that outlines this process. And that's the reason why they didn't order it. And because they didn't officially order it, then it was a legal gray zone. That's my understanding anyways. Lawyer shuffling through a lot of papers right now. He's giving me a better call Saul vibe right now. I would hate to do this job. I'd never be a lawyer in a million years. James's comment, be prepared for a whole lot of the defense missing the entire point of our actual arguments. Yeah, might very well be the case, eh? Hey, Brett, what's up, man? This guy probably read 10 pages. It's like, we got the big bad government behind us. It's okay. We could just pro forma this bad boy. Okay, so there is a motion to strike. Got it. Okay, he just said it. The lawyer's like, hey, motion to strike. So AOG, I have faith in Catherine, but not our courts. Bunch of Masons protecting their system. Wait, hold on a sec. Are the Masons the bad guys? I'm on the fence. I'm actually considering being a Mason. Should I not? What's going on? Are they all really Masons? I don't know about that. Like, is Trudeau a Mason? He would be in the Montreal Lodge if that's the case. Haven't seen him. Don't know about that. Anyways, I'm all for conspiracy theories. Please let me know. James were accused of disobeying a lawful order. Thanks, James. Section 126. That's it. Yeah, you couldn't be charged Section 126 because it wasn't a order, and the CDS knew that. So the gray zone around that is pretty interesting. And like, I covered the initial briefing notes that went to the CDS, and it clearly stated we have no need to do this, and we don't know the long-term health effects. So they're like, well, we've had issues in the past with mefloquine. We know because of the anthrax vaccine that you can't order somebody because then they can go to court-martial. If they go to court-martial, then we air all the dirty laundry. So they made it an administrative issue, and that's why they were able to, or they thought they could kick you out. So I'm going to be really curious to know the knots that they're going to have to tie themselves in, because just reading the statements of claim, like kicking somebody out in 30 days that's not on the books. It's not on the books. What happened to Dallas? This is an explanation of just like getting his key card from one day to the next locked. That doesn't make any sense. There's a literal process that we all know that you're supposed to follow to do your outs. It's not just like, nah, you know what, you're not in the military anymore. See you, bye. Oh, sorry, you didn't want to play ball. You're out. It's so bizarre, because this is like a soul of the military like thing that needs to get sorted out, because once this is judged, it's going to have serious consequences, one way or the other. Gray Man 717. They ignored all the arguments and used prima facie to shoot it down regarding my case. Prima facie, is that like, what does that mean exactly? Like, I'm in charge. Like, I get to make the rules. Is that prima facie? Sean, he's had all this time to figure it out. Instead, he took off on vacation. Now he's fighting their own fight. As Catherine says, never end dirt running when they're making a mistake. Are you serious? So wait, you got an inside scoop, Sean? The Crown defense lawyer took a vacation? Really? He's like, it's summertime. You can't expect me to work. Captain Flan, welcome. Yeah, Haley. Yeah, good point. It's like, this is ridiculous. It's vexatious. It gets the Crown upset. It's amazing how he's just going through all the different paragraphs of like, oh, this is wrong and this is wrong. I guess this is just lawyer stuff, right? Like, It's very, very antithetical to us in the military that are just point driven. It's like, this is the issue. Let's sort this shit out, not like droning on and on. I'm having a hard time following, I'll be honest. I don't know about you guys, but it just doesn't seem, it's not like the movies. So it's a little bit boring. Speak to the mic. Okay, great, man. Because I was suspended instead of fired, this helped them shoot my case down. I was a reservist back in the 80s and 90s. Okay, interesting. Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, you got an interesting case there. You got a very interesting case. Okay, so the Crown argument is basically this: D&D already has a grievance service, and this should be dealt with over there individually. Right. However, the grievance service is 100% broken and can't address any of this. So, like, if their argument is really it should go to the grievance process, like, where are the news reports on this? Canadian Armed Forces grievance process is broken. There we go. There we go. We got it right here. Military lacks the power to address many soldiers' complaints about pay benefits report. Many of the complaints jamming the system are about policies the military can't control. Oh, man. So, like, it's already talked about in mainstream media, right? That this whole process is just crap. And so something as serious as not having your income anymore because they've kicked you out of the career you've built over the last some of you, it's like 20, 25 years. To say like, oh, well, this is the process that'll help. Some folks have like claims that are 2 years old. Well, this is literally why we're in the courts right now. The grievance system doesn't do jack. Shut up. Masons are the bad guys. All right, great, man. I'll take your word for it. I don't know. My uncle's a good guy. He's a Mason. Sound like question period in Parliament. I like question period in Parliament now. I really like it, if it wasn't for Mr. Sunshine Baby, man, he's really made question period kind of cool. Apparently, he's a veteran too. He doesn't talk about it, but maybe he doesn't want to. But yeah, I really like his channel. Shout out to Mr. Sunshine Baby. I never thought watching question period would be cool, but he's definitely highlighting Canadian politics on another level, and he's using this kind of platform to do so. So, yeah, this is definitely what I expected this to be. I can't hear what he's saying because he's not speaking into the microphone. Oops. Oh, great, man. No, now we're on the Mason topic. Okay, low Masons know nothing. So it's not we're only talking like 32, 33 degrees. Everything below that. Exactly. If I'm going to be a Mason, I want to know who shot Kennedy. I want to know if there's aliens, and so I really want to work my way up. If they know that stuff, I'll gladly get into that esoterics. Owen, should I toss the Nuremberg Code, which was developed? Toss in the Nuremberg Code, which was developed years prior to stop this crap from happening to begin with. Yeah, I actually, you know what? I never really Nuremberg Code. Okay. What is the main principle of the Nuremberg Code? Okay, share this tab instead. AI says Nuremberg Mental Tribunal's decision in the case of the United States versus Carl Brandt et al. Includes what is now called Nuremberg Code, a 10-point statement delimiting permissible medical experimentation on human subjects. Okay, cool. The voluntary consent of human subject is absolutely essential. Okay, so this was after the Nuremberg trials, right? 1946. Yep. Okay. Cool. I never really looked into it until now. I had heard of it, and I was like, "Yeah, Nuremberg Code," but okay, but it's 10 points. Got it. So this is an international treaty. I'm guessing. Are there signatories? So the first one, voluntary consent of human subjects, absolutely essential. Experiments should be such as to yield fruitful results. Experiments should be so designed and based on the results of animal experimentation and a knowledge of natural history. Experiments should be so conducted as to avoid all necessary physical and mental suffering. No experiment should be conducted where there is a priori reason to believe that death or disabling injury will occur. The degree of risk should be taken should never exceed the determined by humanitarian importance. Proper preparations should be made to adequate facilities. Experiments should be conducted only by scientifically qualified persons. During the course of the experiment, the human subject should be at liberty to bring the experiment to an end. During the course of the experiment, scientists in charge must be prepared to terminate the experiment at any stage if he has probable cause to believe, in the exercise of good faith, superior skill, and careful judgment required by him, that a continuation of the experiment is likely to result in injury, disability, or death to the experimental subject. Yeah. Wow. That's wild. That's wild. I don't think they ever assumed that the entire world would be used as an experiment. Maybe that's the issue with that. But yeah, great point. Most lawyers and judges are Masons. Interesting. I don't know. Interesting. Freemasons rule the country. Remember that from The Simpsons? Okay. All right. Just going through the comments here, folks. Keep on sending them. Now Barry's quibbling over the definition of words. Talk about scraping the bottom of the barrel. Yeah, I mean, he's talking about vexatious language, and they're really focused on things being vexatious. Huh. The lawyer's gone over the statement of claim hundreds of times. And he gets the sense that they're attacking the vaccine mandate. Okay. Does anybody else get the feeling that like he's just not prepared? Is anybody else feeling that right now? Like he's like fumbling through his notes. He's like, okay, and then he's flipping through pages. Like I'm not a lawyer, but I would have my document and I just like, and I wouldn't be like, well, and then yeah, James, good point here, man. Perry, don't understand that argument because I don't understand them. You shouldn't either. We should just stop looking at this. Does he have an earpiece in? Yeah. Does he have one of those those earrings that are now famous? getting him some liberal talking points. Okay, so he's saying that the individual Jocelyn Lamotte can't proceed. Now Anthony Dew, Master Corporal. He was an infantier with the Royal Regina Rifles, Go Reserves. 12 years. Speak it to the mic, bro. I agree. Who dares wins. All right. Reminds me of when the Surgeon General of CAF wrote that paper on how mefloquine was and still is good to go. But sorry that a whole generation of warriors died. Yeah. Deflect and destroy is all they know. Yeah. And there's the briefing notes from the Surgeon General that stated that they don't need to vaccinate because we already had good uptake of it. And they didn't know the long-term health effects. And they had 3 COAs that were basically vaccinate everybody against their will. Don't go ahead and just leave it as status quo, or do kind of like a hybrid if you want to deploy. Guess which one they picked? Initially, it was just leave it status quo, and then things changed all of a sudden. I guess when there was the official CDS title and promotion on the table for air, then he said, "Jab them all." If that's not corruption, I don't know what is. So, yeah. I mean, this mefloquine stuff was already mentioned in the briefing note that, hey, we've already got an issue here. We don't want to create even more issues. That was from the Surgeon General. And it's just like CDS just completely disregarded that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. 120 of the plaintiffs are still employed. 60 retired due to medical reasons. 100 who grieved, and 60 that got the jab. Okay, I think he's getting to his point. So from what I understand, he's saying there's no one statement of claim that defines them all. But my understanding is that there is. I don't know, maybe somebody can clarify that. They had to leave their job because the CAF abused their authority. Oh, he just said they should have been court-martialed. What? Did he just say they should have all been court-martialed and not have the administrative action brought against them? Is that what he just said? Did he just say they should have been court-martialed? Because if he did, then that's whoa, like, dude, you're I don't think this guy knows because he doesn't know military law, right? These no lawyers do. Like Catherine's the only one that does seem to know anything about military law because nobody's given a crap about it, right? Nobody's actually like a $500 million lawsuit's never really existed before. It's great, great comment here, James. It's very hard for me to figure out what this is about. So why didn't Catherine give us the roadmap, right? That's the point. That's the point. There is no law that says you can. So if you can't enact that section 126, then you're acting administratively. And because they're acting administratively, they had no reason. They couldn't go ahead and remove you from the forces because there's nothing to say that is the next step because there wasn't a disciplinary action. Did he just blow up his case? Yeah. Hmm. So I'm not really tracking this case. Is this something that occurred already at the? Okay. Mm. Yeah, I'm a little confused about what he was bringing up there. It was a ruling that stated that there's no claim because the code of service discipline is supposed to cover off everything, and therefore you can't take it outside of the code of service discipline. Not quite sure about what that one was. Je pense que si on perd toute, la société perd car les go-faux vont faire ce qu'ils veulent. Et la prochaine manifestation, il va y avoir des militaires sur le terrain contre le peuple. Yeah. Je pense que tu as raison. Sérieusement. Si tu as vu le documentaire hier par Aaron Gunn, ça va être difficile à avoir une fierté dans notre pays, je pense. Puis on verra. We'll see, I guess. We'll see. Yeah, it's getting weird. It's getting weird. Chase. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, right, it's the judge. And I'm wondering how, like, this is slated for 3 hours. Like, are they going to go toe to toe for 3 hours? And like, is it just going to be him kind of bumbling about, shuffling papers? Because if I was the judge, I'd have a hard time following what this guy's trying to say. Barry just said it was our argument that we should be court-martialed, but he didn't necessarily agree. Yeah. Okay. So that's what he's saying. That we right. But it was clearly a political decision to not allow you to go through the court-martial process. So it was devious the way they did it. But still doesn't address the fact that the way that you folks got your careers taken away was abusive. Right? Like, am I missing something here? This was the abusive part, right? Like, prima facie. Thanks, Oma. Appreciate it. Le Doric. Nuremberg isn't law, right? The investigators said it gives pledge the illusion of a win, but didn't change the laws, right? Same with UNESCO by yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah, it's just like all international treaties, right? It's not law. It's whether or not you choose to follow it or not, and then it creates trust and you know you're right, an illusion. And if somebody breaks it, what are the implications, right? Okay. You saying nobody's won on a charter claim? Okay. Right, but I mean, the point of this is that it's not it's not a charter claim. No charter breach due to a vaccine mandate. Well, that's interesting because I mean, it was deemed to be a charter breach. CAF. I covered it on the show too. CAF. Charter breach. And external review found that COVID-19 vaccine policy violated charter rights. So we have it here. Policy resulted in 299 people being released and another 108 leaving the armed forces on their own. So like, you don't need to litigate that. That's already been determined. So they've had their charter rights breached already. That's been determined. So I don't understand this guy's argument on this one. Yeah, he just said there's no charter breach for vaccine mandates, but it's literally right here. I'll even make it bigger. Like, granted, what is a charter breach, right? It doesn't mean anything. Like, nobody goes to jail, right? Nobody, you can have a charter breach all day. It doesn't actually result in anything. Like, clearly this is a big deal. And they just like sidestepped it. Like, whoa. No, I don't think anything came of this. You know, like it wasn't like AIR didn't make any statement. So I don't know. I don't know what you do about that. I really don't know what you do about that. And no privacy breach. Yeah, he's about to. Yeah, well, I mean, there's one plaintiff that had her medical information put on a website. So okay, I mean that's just one I know of. Oh, cool. Dre Humphrey from Rebel News will be live tweeting. Okay, let's go check. Dre Humphrey. Dre Humphrey. Posts. Okay, cool. Here it is. Very cool. Let's see what she's got. She got any more tweets? That's it. Show more. Is there more? Am I missing something? No, that's it. How come she does have more posts? I just can't do tweeting and this at the same time. Plus, I have like 300 people on my Twitter account. If you want to follow it, guys, by all means. The reason why it's not streaming there is that I don't pay for the premium account because I don't use it enough. So Barry, like, do you guys? I mean, this is the first I see him. Has he litigated or has he defended other cases before for the government? I mean, obviously, I don't know him personally. I don't know. I'll be honest. Like lawyers, like they got a rough job. Sometimes you got to defend some really nasty people or nasty governments, right? You got to go to bat for them. So, yeah, I don't know. Seems like an all right guy. He's a little bit lost, but seems like an all right guy. Okay, Drea, where are the tweets? Where are the tweets, Drea? Come on. She's the only one that's that I know is doing anything. So we got 116 folks here from Veterans for Freedom, which is awesome. And if you're tuning in, if you haven't done so, make sure to like, share, follow. Only 30% of those that watch my channel are subscribed. Goes a long way, believe it or not. Goes a long way. Appreciate the love. He's not prepared. They used to make a deal at a court. Yeah, I was just having this conversation actually. He's not prepared because they're used to making deals at a court, and I think that's something that here in Canada is typical, right? Do a lot of deals outside of court, so they don't actually have to sharpen their lawyer's sword. And so when they actually get into the courtroom, I mean, granted, we have a skewed view of what being a lawyer is because we see TV shows and it's perfectly delivered and it's like to the point. It's like drama. It's actually kind of boring, right? There's nobody in there except the judge and them. Okay, let's get into some more comments here, James. There's still a SharePoint links readily available in D1 that show members' private Get out, James. Are you serious? It's still on SharePoint? Like, whose drive? Are you serious? That's bananas, man. Carol, had to mute that lawyer. Just listening. Captions on. I wonder how long I have to listen. I don't know. I was hoping he'd kind of be done by now, honestly. Like, I'm really just waiting for Catherine to get up to bat. Exactly. I was expecting some, like, this is vexatious, and then just, like, blast. Be like, we need to throw this out. Not, like, shuffling through papers all the time, wondering where his argument is. Joe, everyone knows not vax were read on the schedule. Everyone saw Modern Mass, not confidential at all. Are you serious? That's so crazy. I'm not surprised. Oh, Catherine's standing up. James, you sound like a lawyer, man. Like, you succinctly are able to summarize this very well. There's way too much here, so we got to get rid of it, man. Canada doesn't have the time or the patience to go through this. This is too much for us. Yeah, I'm getting the impression that that's the case. I'm getting hungry. Actually, this has been a lesson in patience. I'm going to have a protein bar that I got here, a Quest bar. 21 grams of protein. Time to fuel up. I think we're all tuning in here to wait for Catherine to drop some bombs. James. Master's in philosophy. Oh, cool. Oh, no way. You got a specialization in the history of the Soviet Union? Oh my God. Man. James, we got to have a discussion about Gulag Archipelago. I want to just do an episode on that. For most people, it'll probably be a snooze fest, but I don't know, man. I didn't do any specialization in university on this stuff, but it fascinates me now how history can repeat itself. The Gulag Archipelago has freaked me out. I haven't finished it yet. But to think that a lot of that's true, awful stuff. Puts a lot of things in context for sure. Yes, can confirm MM had everything for all to see modern mass. Okay, got it. Canada is a farce at this point. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I taught my troops about Yuri Bezmenov and the stages of Soviet subversion. My battalion commander told me to stop giving troops irrelevant training. It's a give and take in the CAF, right? It was a organization built around getting as many like uneducated masses into the ranks and have your upper class is your officer class with the education and the money. And then society changed. And like you have, I don't know what your rank was, but I'm assuming you're an officer, but it doesn't mean anything. Like I have a master's degree. I was a senior NCO. I had a troop who was a literal rocket scientist. So you couldn't use the argument like, well, it's not like it's fucking rocket science. You'd be like, well, actually, Sarge, you're right. But I am a rocket scientist and I'm still having a hard time. You'd be like, okay. It's like, that's just the nature of the Canadian Forces, right? You had some wicked smart people. My buddy Fatty had a MBA. He was a corporal. Like we have this structure here that we still think the officers hold all of the knowledge and the I guess the moral authority to lead because of their status, but it's not true at all, man. Not true. And we haven't rectified that. We have a lot of really smart people in the ranks. And like you don't even need to go to school to, being smart has nothing to do with what you learned in school. It's your ability to rationalize and take on problems and think them through fast is basically my definition of being smart. So a lot of smart folks just haven't gone to school. We got a lot of them. So when you get treated like a child here, it's infuriating. It's like you can just bring a logical argument, be like, this isn't making sense. Your rules are here, you're breaking them here, but yet somehow you're gaslighting me and saying like, no, those aren't the rules. What do you do? What do you do? So yeah, I feel you on giving the troops irrelevant training, considering our whole Cold War army was based upon fighting the threat. Yeah. History is dangerous for a lot of people. Arm James, can we share a short recap of what's been happening, please? Short and sweet, please. I just got on. Yeah. So Barry is the lawyer here. He's been going on for over an hour about why this court case needs to be thrown out. And he's just shuffling through his notes. He says it's without merit, it's vexatious. And he's brought up the argument that they should have been court-martialed, not gone through the administrative process. It's all over the place. I'm having a hard time following it. Everybody's having a hard time following it. And we're just trying to hang on until Catherine gets up and starts dropping bombs. I think that's it. You can't handle the truth. Just brought up Mefloquine here based on the question on the screen. This is an article from 2019. Mefloquine lawsuits against federal government filed in court for military use drug. So that was 2019. I don't think it's been resolved yet. Maybe you folks can give us some updates, but that's it right here. As far as I know, it has not been resolved, but I think you folks would have a better idea. I'm not involved in it, even though I did take it when I was deployed. Took it for 2 months, I think. Like it was, Methadone was once a month, once every 2 weeks. I ran out of Malarone, and then after I took Methadone, I was like, why am I even taking this? Like, this is like, because I just ran out, and like my buddy's like, I have Methadone. I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, but you don't take it every day. I was like, okay. I mean, I don't think I got any toxicity, so it didn't apply. But for those that did get messed up from it, man, it sounds awful. Knowing that it was like, anyways, I'm not an expert on the Mefloquine issue by any means, but it just sounds like there was just gross negligence there. And the government's just not ruling on it because, well, they're the government. They can drag their heels, right? Like, who's going to force them to do anything? That seems like the Canadian way. It's like, we'll cock things up, but then we'll just wait for you to die. We won't actually resolve things or make things better and admit culpability. Seems like what we've got going on here. All right, James. I'm fascinated by your story, by the way. That's 5F. Wow. So I'm assuming the 5F was because of this, the mandates. That's pretty wild. Having did a CFR, commission from ranks. I mean, my unit was small, so really there wasn't much change. Still the same people, and I didn't see much difference other than the give a shit factor was much less. So at least in the officer ranks of my unit, like if you're struggling, it's basically like, screw you. How dare you struggle? Why haven't you come in on Tuesday nights for the last 2 weeks? Unacceptable. I was just like, peace. Doesn't matter. You've given up 15 years of your life for this place. Countless unpaid hours. Yeah. Our NCOs are still really strong in our unit too. So backbone of the Army for a reason. 5F is a badge of honor. Yeah, right on. Hey, what do you guys think about Trump saying that he's going to let in, if he's elected, says he will rehire troops fired over vaccine mandate. I'll share this here. That's pretty big. That is pretty big. I don't need this to play. That's a pretty big deal. He's got a video here. I don't think there's an article with it, but yeah, he said he'll bring everybody on with back pay. I mean, obviously, if they want to, but what do you think? Do you think there is a possibility in Canada for this to happen, where those of you that were kicked out will be brought back in, given all your back pay, and you can carry on with an apology? I don't know. And if they did offer it, would you take it? That's the other question. Would you say, yeah, sure, I'll hop back in? It'd be interesting to know. Okay, so dog's breakfast. Well, thank you. Yeah. I'm having a hard time, man. I'm having a hard time. If I was the judge, I'd be like, oh, dude. This reminds me of, I used to teach grade 9 science. And every year we had science fair. And so you had to like, it was 2 months that you had to create your own project, conduct the experiment, and then you had your big flourish where you had to present. And we all went to high school, right? You get the team that literally did nothing until the day before. They're like, I'm going to do my experiment right now. And then they get up and then they just start like going through papers. They're standing up for like their 20 minutes that they're allocated. And you're just like, ugh, what's your point? We clearly, like, I can see, I've been doing this for a while. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. This doesn't make any sense. Can you sum this up and please sit down? I don't know. If I was a judge, that would be my thoughts. I don't know what your argument is, man. I don't know what it is. Oh, wow. James, you're major. You need to get behind the science. Whose science? Like, I have other science. You know? There's only one scientific truth, right? Which, if you have a science background, like this guy, there's no one source. That's the whole point. There's no one source of truth. It's a plurality of ideas. And it's to gradually get to consensus. There's always going to be outliers, right? It was a really weird time, not gonna lie. Having the brief training in science that I have, it was maddening. I'm like, this is not the scientific process, man. It's supposed to be peer reviewed. There's supposed to be people that can dissent. That's what I learned. Yeah, and then everybody that was calling everybody else a conspiracy theorist for not believing in the science, but them 100% believing in. It was just like, well, like, how are you any different? Like, we have more commonalities here. Like, you want to trust things blindly because the agency told you. Well, like, I want to believe things that this other guy told me. What's the difference? You know, like, my science is better than your science. With people that are just not educated in science, was just the reason why I got into teaching in the first place. Because I wanted to ensure kids growing up understood how to reason and to use the scientific method to hypothesize and then create theory, because it's important, because you're going to get your wool pulled over your eyes if you don't understand that. Well, it did happen. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. But I wasn't teaching at that time, unfortunately, in the classroom. So I would have got fired, I think. I know a lot of teachers reached out to me, man. They're like, oh man, I wish we could say what you're talking about. I'm like, well, why can't you? Because they're worried about their jobs, man. Teachers are getting suspended and stuff like that and like censored. It's crazy. Aside CAF, dude. James, it sounds like you got an ass kicking, man. Barry has completely missed all our points so far and is walking directly into Catherine's. Is he getting onto the X? I hope so. He's done. He's done. Okay. He's done. Woo! 15-minute recess. All right. I think we should do the same here too. 15 minutes. I'll keep the live feed open. I'm going to go make myself a coffee. Court's in recess for now. And keep posting in the comments. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And yeah, I'm making a series too of 1-minute reels on the timeline of this. It'll give me time to post that too. So be right back. There's actually two briefing notes here. The one I'm talking about that was created before August. The briefing note is very careful to point out that mandatory vaccination would be a human rights infringement.
However, the issue was with forces members. They were still being released. The ones who had asked for exemptions, a lot of them were being denied. The stories I was hearing about discrimination about those who did not want to participate was appalling, to say the least. And the fact that there's an overall lack of awareness within the Canadian public on this.
New York Post did an article as well that summarized this very well, because this is blowing up. You guys that are having a hard time and are wondering, hey, where's this going to go, that have been languishing over the last 2 years, been made to feel like you are less than a soldier, that your country no longer wants or needs you. I hear you. There's guys like Dallas that hear you too. There's actually two briefing notes here. The one I'm talking about that was created before August. The briefing note is very careful to point out that mandatory vaccination would be a human rights infringement.
However, the issue was with forces members. They were still being released. The ones who had asked for exemptions, a lot of them were being denied. The stories I was hearing about discrimination about those who did not want to participate was appalling, to say the least. And the fact that there's an overall lack of awareness within the Canadian public on this.
New York Post did an article as well that summarized this very well, because this is blowing up. You guys that are having a hard time and are wondering, hey, where's this going to go, that have been languishing over the last 2 years, been made to feel like you are less than a soldier, that your country no longer wants or needs you. I hear you. There's guys like Dallas that hear you too. There's actually two briefing notes here. The one I'm talking about that was created before August. The briefing note is very careful to point out that mandatory vaccination would be a human rights infringement.
However, the issue was with forces members. They were still being released. The ones who had asked for exemptions, a lot of them were being denied. The stories I was hearing about discrimination about those who did not want to participate was appalling, to say the least. And the fact that there's an overall lack of awareness within the Canadian public on this.
New York Post did an article as well that summarized this very well, because this is blowing up. You guys that are having a hard time and are wondering, hey, where's this going to go, that have been languishing over the last 2 years, been made to feel like you are less than a soldier, that your country no longer wants or needs you. I hear you. There's guys like Dallas that hear you too. There's actually two briefing notes here. The one I'm talking about that was created before August. The briefing note is very careful to point out that mandatory vaccination would be a human rights infringement.
However, the issue was with forces members. They were still being released. The ones who had asked for exemptions, a lot of them were being denied. The stories I was hearing about discrimination about those who did not want to participate was appalling, to say the least. And the fact that there's an overall lack of awareness within the Canadian public on this.
New York Post did an article as well that summarized this very well, because this is blowing up. You guys that are having a hard time and are wondering, hey, where's this going to go, that have been languishing over the last 2 years, been made to feel like you are less than a soldier, that your country no longer wants or needs you. I hear you. There's guys like Dallas that hear you too. There's actually two briefing notes here. The one I'm talking about that was created before August. The briefing note is very careful to point out that mandatory vaccination would be a human rights infringement.
However, the issue was with forces members. They were still being released. The ones who had asked for exemptions, a lot of them were being denied. The stories I was hearing about discrimination about those who did not want to participate was appalling, to say the least. And the fact that there's an overall lack of awareness within the Canadian public on this.
New York Post did a...
The moral injury is incalculable. There is no recovering from that. There's no receiving damages for that because it affected everyone. And I would even suggest that it's affected the people who supported the Canadian Armed Forces from the outside for civilians. because
Hmm.
I have been a big supporter of the Canadian Armed Forces, for example, and now it's sort of like, do I really want to keep supporting as a civilian? Because as a lawyer, I get approached by all kinds of charities, et cetera, wanting support, and in particular military charities because of what I do. And I'm like, you know? But the other piece that's added to this moral injury, because 2 years ago, when people first approached me, part of what they wanted was to be able to keep their jobs or go back to their job, but they'd been released.
Right.
And now they're like, absolutely not. The moral injury is incalculable. There is no recovering from that. There's no receiving damages for that because it affected everyone. And I would even suggest that it's affected the people who supported the Canadian Armed Forces from the outside for civilians, because I have been a big supporter of the Canadian Armed Forces, for example, and now it's sort of like, do I really want to keep supporting as a civilian? Because as a lawyer, I get approached by all kinds of charities, et cetera, wanting support, and in particular military charities because of what I do. And I'm like, you know? But the other piece that's added to this moral injury, because 2 years ago, when people first approached me, part of what they wanted was to be able to keep their jobs or go back to their job, but they'd been released.
Right.
And now they're like, absolutely not.
And then I eventually, in episode 144, is basically the last episode where I talked about COVID, was all about Dallas Alexander, who was on the Sean Ryan show and briefly mentioned that his last day at the Hill, at the unit, was precipitated by the fact that he didn't want to take the box. Okay. And that was just, I couldn't believe it. And then the whole fiasco that ensued from his unit with lawyer letters to the Sean Ryan podcast was just, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. But I had to now grapple with the fact that there's some kind of, you want to call it a mind virus ideology that has gripped onto people in the highest places. And the idea that you're looking out for quote unquote, your family, which is how they like to present the military, our CAF family, it's not the case. And then I eventually, in episode 144, is basically the last episode where I talked about COVID, was all about Dallas Alexander, who was on the Sean Ryan show and briefly mentioned that his last day at the Hill, at the unit, was precipitated by the fact that he didn't want to take the box. How about now? Am I good? I think I'm good now. Awesome. Okay. I don't hear anything. Do you guys hear anything from the courtroom? I'm not getting anything from the courtroom right now. Let me just check my audio settings here for the courtroom. Yeah, should be all right. Hey, you can raise your hand on Zoom. You can ask a question. Is this no court, just you. Okay, you're good now. Thanks for tuning. Yeah, okay. Are the lawyers' mics on? I'm not getting anything. Okay, cool. Now I got it. Recording in progress. Okay, they're back on. Cool. Let me see if I put this through my headphones so it doesn't get any. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're good. We're back up. K Smith, is this next message? 100%. 100%. If this political like health commentary angle I'm taking doesn't work, I'm 100% going to interpretive dance. That's where the money's at. Yeah. Like, this is what I do, man. Like, by all means. Okay, there's folks. Okay, who's coming in? Are the individuals that are entering the courtroom? Are those plaintiffs? Are those? They look all like some of them look like pipe hitters. Are those some of the folks on the statement of claim? All right, here we go. Catherine's up. Okay, Catherine just made the claim. They're not looking at material evidence and facts and messing things up on the defense side. This case isn't a challenge to the COVID-19 defense policy. It's about malfeasance against a chain of command of their own troops. There you go. It's a solid body blow. Pow. Okay. Is the Arbor report the report about the toxic culture in the CAF? Is that what that is? Because Catherine's bringing it up now. I'm not quite sure what that is. That's the Arbor report. Okay. So this is the Arbor report here. Report of the Independent External Comprehensive Review. Oh, it's big. Okay. Okay, so does that mean that the Arbor report that is not admissible? I don't know. It wasn't attached to an affidavit, so it's not admissible. Is that what just happened there? Hmm. Okay. It's a good point. It's a good point. Okay, so the okay, so the judge has interrupted 3 times now. I think she interrupted once with the defense counsel. The judge is essentially saying there's no harms listed here. Yeah, the federal government has the weight of their own federal decisions that if they don't make sense, it doesn't matter. They go case law. They go, this already occurred, right? So you say like, yeah, but based off of what we've already seen, we don't care about this military law stuff. The state is responsible for behavior that is clearly unconstitutional. The charter is part of the Constitution. If it's deemed to be a breach of the charter, then shouldn't this just be like a slam dunk? Fact dynamic for CP, that's complex PTSD, William, I'm guessing. Anxiety and depression. Am I? Wow, they really, they really. Sorry to hear that, William. Sorry to hear that. Non-service related. Non-service related. Afternoon, mother of the drummer. We're just listening to Catherine's testimony here. Oh, yeah. Yeah. William, I hear you, man. I hear you. Right. This is a big deal. Code of service discipline incorporates offenses under the criminal code and other offenses that wouldn't necessarily be codified. Yeah. As far as I know, the Crown and the Crown Defense, like this, they don't hear cases that use code of service discipline as a reasoning for bringing cases forward. Yeah, I agree. Catherine's got a tall freaking order here. It's not like there's numerous lawsuits coming from numerous directions, right? She's bush bashing here against an entire government that has no interest in seeing this. Like no interest, right? Because if like we game this out, say the ruling is in favor of the plaintiffs, that's like a nuclear bomb going off in the political world. It'd have international repercussions. You'd have soldiers in a NATO country winning a lawsuit. And I don't know if the Americans, I think, did the Navy SEALs in the States win their lawsuit for wrongful dismissal? I get to know. Let's check. Let's check. Uh-huh. Navy settles lawsuit with sailors who denied COVID-19 vaccine. Ah. Wow, re-enlistment code after the DD-214. Interesting. Okay, so I think Catherine's moving towards the, it wasn't, what's the word I'm looking for? Didn't give consent. Yeah, William, I got your comment here up on the screen. Yeah. Yeah. 12 to 24 months. Yeah. Same here, 2 years. But 3V medical release in 3 weeks is unheard of. Of course they wanted you out. Odious, welcome. Welcome, my friend. Yeah. James, I don't know, man. All the evidence in the world, I don't know. Like if you just have a fundamentally corrupt system, I don't know. Here we go. 126. There you go. There we go, Catherine. Here we go. They deliberately circumvented, yes, the ability to go to court martial. Yeah, that's it. Deliberately ignoring the section 126. So he turned, yeah, CDS turned into a remedial measure sisters, and ultimately he's the last one that has a decision on it. Gross. Judge is getting it. She's like, okay, judge just asked a very good question. This is the whole gist of the argument, right, guys? They didn't use 126 so that they could use administrative remedial measures. Right. Nobody was charged for disobeying a lawful order for the vaccine mandate. Uh-huh. A directive is not an order. Catherine's given an education that I learned that I got last year, 2 years ago. There we go. That's the whole basis of the case. So, okay, let's play devil's advocate here. The judge is looking at it like, okay, but yeah, they made an administrative action. So what? The CDS is well within his right to do that. I wonder if the judge knows all of the. I can't believe that she knows all these references. Now, if I understand correctly, okay, Catherine's going to explain it. Administrative action. Got it. Recommendation for compulsory release. this is a glaring indictment of the whole Canadian military justice system, which I can't, having done my presiding officer course, the lawyer that was giving me the course was spot on. He's like, we haven't been able to mesh Canadian law and the charter with military law. And essentially what is going on in the military doesn't hold weight. And that's why they don't want you bringing in outside counsel. That's why they don't want you referring to the charter. That's why they don't want you learning about stuff, because there's no other military justice system in reality that's separate from Canadian justice system as a civvy. Unlike the Americans that have the UCMJ, we don't have that here. So there's plenty of room for abuse here. Plenty of room for abuse. Thanks, Mark. Eric Hill, have your comment up here for commenting. William, that stated we shouldn't be affected by refusing a vaccine, just limited to certain deployment. Yes, William, I 100% agree. And this was one of the COAs that was set up in the briefing note. If they don't want to take it, cool. Like, they can keep their job, they can keep on working. They just don't deploy. That's a simple solution that doesn't blow up your entire. But there was a political agenda here. They wanted the military to be the example for the country, and whoever's getting their palms greased, I don't know, to get all these troops jabbed. I don't know. There's a whole big knot to undo here. There's going to be years of reporting, and whether people want to address it or not, I don't know. George. James, you're blowing my mind here, man. It's amazing what you can just do by ignoring stuff, eh? Thanks, Homa. Okay. So Catherine's making like the gist of the argument here. You can't get the review process done because the grievance process is broken. So therefore you have no other option. So therefore the abuses continue until you actually VR or get 5F'd. Here we go. That's correct. They don't. So okay, the judge is clarifying. Okay, the judge asked a very good question. Catherine's point is that this wasn't a 126 order. This was a directive. And so because of it, you went through an administrative process that is broken. Okay, so the judge is challenging on the fact that there's okay, so the contention is there's no clear claim. Okay. So yeah, yeah. Well, we just got your yeah. This was he was on with Catherine, right, at the in the Andy Stump podcast. The dude from Valcarce stuck outside, freezing his balls off, losing weight. Yeah, that was freaking terrible, awful. Yeah, Raging Goose. I'm trying to keep up here. It's fast and furious right now. So the way I can see this playing out is because the mass tort, everybody on this tort has a claim. Some of the claims will be awarded and some of them won't. That's how I see this playing out. But obviously, I could be wrong. Obviously, the government wants nothing to do with this. I mean, we're definitely fighting an uphill battle. So Catherine's talking about maintenance, morale, and discipline. I have a feeling the judge is going to be like, "What is this relevant?" I have a feeling that the judge is going to say that. Samson, is the CAF mandating the COVID shot, or can you keep that? I believe it's still required to deploy. Maybe somebody that's still in can confirm that, but I'm pretty sure you need your booster, even though they just said they have to destroy all of them like immediately before the new ones come out, which is like really, I don't know, it's kind of sketchy. And I think you need 6 total if to be like fully up to date now, which is like, with all the doubt that's in the media and just in general, something only like 7% of Americans are fully up to date, which means nobody believes in this quiet quitting, right? Yeah, getting a bad vibe from the judge. Yes and no. I mean, again, as devil's advocate, she has to do her job, so she has to not use emotion and just drill down to what is presented in the claim, not what may be. And she said, like, I can't rule on anything that that's not here. So, you know, that's just the nature of the beast here. Why isn't Catherine talking about blatant charter breaches? I don't know. Maybe she'll get to it. Hey, Terry. What's going on, buddy? Okay. Catherine's making the statement that it's the leadership failed to follow the KRNOs and statutes that are outlined in our law, well, in the CAF law, which erodes discipline, morale. So she's calling out leadership for failing to follow the laws imposed on them, or they're responsible for. All I could say is, man, the amount of stress to bring this to court, considering this is the first of its kind, other than there's a mass tort as well, or is it class action for Mefloquin? I don't know how big that lawsuit is, to be honest. I don't know if it's $500 million, but yeah, this is a big deal. I don't know how you keep all your thoughts in order. So I'm not a lawyer. The judge doesn't know the grievance system at all. Right. The grievance process isn't enough. Big question here. What happens if your chain of command abuses their authority and does something wrong? The answer is you can grieve it. But if you can't get timely justice and a decision from the grievance process, this is the point of the lawsuit. Like literally the point of the lawsuit. Okay. Judge is like, isn't there an alternate process that Parliament addressed? Great point. Okay. So the judge is getting an education here, right? Judge is clearly getting an education here. There's so much here, man. Like if I was the judge, I'd be like, okay, look, time out. We're going to the bar. You got to explain this to me like I'm 6. What the hell happened here? I think that's the way our justice system should be. Go down to, I was going to say Houlihan's in Ottawa, man. That dates me. Minglewoods, is that place still open in Ottawa? Let's go take the back part of the bar. Let's get some nachos. Let's get a pitcher. Okay, Mike Schultz, thanks for the update. It is still required for deployments, but some have successfully declined the shots and died yellow. Okay. So, again, that must be so frustrating, man. For everybody that was booted out. It's like, oh, yeah, I don't feel like it. It's like, oh, okay, we'll let you through. But what about all the guys that you just ruined their lives? I would have no problem being a lawyer, only if a punching bag was installed in the toilet and asked to piss spray. Yeah, I couldn't do it either. At the judge has to be educated on the military system. I'm not seeing a good outcome. Yeah, I mean, nobody really has a grasp of the military justice system, right? I think all of our JAGs are hired, or most of them are hired from outside. They're not nearly as well versed as they should be. So just Minglewoods is close too. Oh man. Oh man. There should be a battle. We should have taken a battle honor out of Minglewoods, the Battle of Minglewoods from 2002. Grenadiers against foot guards. Was that 2002, 2001? Got wild. Hey, Catherine. She was just talking about like none of the leadership is briefed on law, military law at all. So they were told they couldn't grieve. So the issue here is there's no ability to follow the rules because nobody knows what the rules are. The Dominion and the laugh will always be the best bars in all. Yeah. I don't know the laugh. Heart and Crown. That's still there. Pretty sure. Terry, this is no, this is civilian court. This is 100% civilian court because the military court can't handle this, right? So like the Crown is defending this. It's not somebody from the CAF that's defending this. So kangaroo. Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Drea's updating here. Judge Coughlin is presiding. Okay. Let's throw that a like. So, folks, Drea is from Rebel News. I think she's from Rebel News. So, shooting her a like. Shooting her a follow. Okay. So, Drea's been going through step by step here. Oh, this is great. Drea's really keeping up. So go follow Drea. She's doing a play-by-play here. Thanks, Drea. Yeah, it's Rebel News Online. Yep. Whoa. Catherine dropping a bomb here. CDS is ignoring the legal system. So Catherine just made a really good, important claim. This is the first time that hundreds of members have brought forth a claim that it can't, the CAF can't manage its own internal affairs. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal. Catherine bringing up the fact that this is bigger than racist or sexist abuse. Oh, judge didn't like that. Misfeasance. So I'm just listening here. What is the alleged bad faith coming from the government? So the malfeasance is what she's trying to get at. Catherine's responding with the malice is based on the COVID-19 policies and abundant evidence. And 6,000 pages is 0.1% of all the evidence. Well, I mean, it's in bad faith just by what I covered on the podcast. You have a briefing note that says, don't do this. And then you went ahead and did it anyways. Yes. And she's saying she knows this chief of defense knows the implications of the decisions that they're going to make. Downrange. Agreed. Yeah, Terry, I ultimately think that's one of the biggest questions that we need to answer here. Like, and Catherine just mentioned it, like the CAF can't manage its own affairs. So this does seem weird. Like you have to take it to the civilian court in order to litigate something that happened in the military. I don't know, man. Otis, I don't know what hate gate is, but I'll take your word for it. So I'm just bringing up the Dallas Alexander exposure here from last year. I'm thoroughly confused because the Military Grievances External Review Committee recently found that the implementation of COVID-19 policy of the forces may have violated. No, it's not may have. It said it did. see how they said it did. But in the same vein, you can go to this here. Canada arbitrator finds vaccination policy did not violate Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Who's right? Like, how do you argue that? I don't know. I'm definitely not putting money on this case. It's way too up in the air. Does anybody want to throw any odds? Anyone want to throw any odds in this? Where does Vegas have the odds at for a win on this case? Just brought up something here, but it's paywalled. But Congress investigating whether military games of 2019 was already spreading at the Wuhan military games. That's 2021, though. I don't know what the final decision has been on that. Okay. Judge is asking if this court should exercise jurisdiction. Got it. Yes, that's true. All right, some odds are coming in. 1%. 6.66%. If I were to still be driving, I'd put my money at the door. 14.88. That's, it's not bad. Okay. So if we war game this, let's say it gets kicked out of this court. This isn't the Supreme Court. Where's it go? Okay. You can't. Okay. So judge is saying, why should I preside over this in this court and keep the court case going? And Catherine is saying there's folks that can't grieve because they're not in the forces anymore. Valid point. And the grievance process doesn't have an ability to award damages. Right. This is an indictment of the grievance process. We're supposed to be able to have access to a justice system that is supposed to listen to our claims in a timely manner. And this doesn't happen when you're in the CAF. Like, we have serious criminals that have their court cases thrown out because it's gone past the timeline from which they can actually bring something to court. But yet in our case, if you have an issue, it can go on for years and years and years, and there's no accountability for missing individuals' grievances and the timeline that should be set. Yeah, so this is an indictment on the grievance process. Had the grievance process worked, we wouldn't be here right now. I get it. Yes, the judge gets it. The COVID-19 directives are the underpinning of a larger problem, which is the grievance process. She got it. She got it. There we go. Thanks, Catherine. Canadian Armed Forces members don't give up their rights as swearing allegiance to an oath to the king. So they don't give up their rights to due process. They don't give up their rights to a timely judicial process. And the Chief of Defense Staff is not in a position to defend these things because that is not his role. Oh my God, there we go. The judge is probably like, ah, shit. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Oh, the highest court. Oh, man. Yeah. Imagine went to the Supreme Court. They'd never allow that. I don't think they'd ever allow that. This is stressful. This is stressful. My ears are hot. It's not because of the headphones. It's a great comment. Get that bald-headed traitor on the stand. Yeah, imagine getting hair on stand. This live stream would be blowing up. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We're at 248. This is awesome. 248. Don't you guys have work? This is my work. This is my work. What are you guys doing? Is everybody on the IRB? This is great. Yeah, she's Catherine's just outlining how the processes are complicated by this whole ordeal, and they're thoroughly confused. And like this doesn't even address right now the religious accommodations and the fact that there's over 1,000 folks that I think it's 1,500 that asked for religious accommodations. So there's 900 that were refused and like 100 that were granted. Doesn't make any sense. Fight for freedom. I'll get you that answer. The judge's name is here. Judge Coughlin. Yeah, Judge Coughlin. Nice. Trimming my weed plants. Beauty. Well, okay. Everybody that has been, yeah, this is the sticking wicket here. Everybody that is part of this 330 had to go through remedial measures, but there's no standard as to how these remedial measures were applied. And because it's taken so long, people have fucked off, people have stayed in, people have gotten 5F'd. It's just like it's just like a dog's breakfast. So the judge is like, but wait, everybody, like, there's still people in it. So how do we? But that's why it's a mass tort. And that's the point of the lawsuit. She just brought it up. Yeah, Catherine just brought it up. This is the point. It shouldn't be a dog's breakfast. It was applied in too many different ways. And everyone was subjected to the actions of bad actors. Right. Because there was no standard, which resulted in harm. And the boilerplate aid memoir is being brought up now for the judge. Interesting. It's too bad we can't record this. It'd be freaking cool. You can like clip it up, get sound bites. It's not like in America. You can get cameras in the courtroom. You can have like a Johnny Depp moment. Things can go viral. Yeah, I don't know. Should we? I don't know. I'm on the fence. Like, everything for the Americans is kind of like freedom. It's like everybody should see what's going on. We can see what's going on, but you have to register. It's kind of like a layer of defense there. Yeah, Cabby. Yeah, we've been going hard since 10:30. Yeah, we're going hard since 10:30, guys. I gotta bounce. What time? I gotta bounce in a little bit here. I won't be able to go through the whole thing. So I got 15 more minutes of my live stream, and then I've got kids to take care of. So I'll have to let you go in 15 minutes, but it's been a real hoot. It's been a real hoot so far. $240. It's the longest live stream and hard to kill podcast history, by the way. Lake time, no worries. My pleasure. I don't know if you folks saw this, but from University of Ottawa, Canada's response to COVID-19 pandemic riddled with failures, expert review. Like, it's bad. I mean, it's just this one of the many things that went horribly wrong. So you can go check that out. I'll put the link here. So, okay, to kind of summarize here, like everything I've learned from Catherine, the CDS holds too much power. The CDS is essentially the last line of defense for all grievances. And so therefore, if he implements something, the last line of defense is him for the grievance, which makes no sense. You know, it's like, I don't know, what kind of, is that a Futurama episode or like a South Park episode? It's like, okay, yeah, I got a problem with the directive. Okay, cool. It goes up one layer, second layer, and then who makes a decision at the end? Oh, the guy that made the directive. Well, are you going to really like oppose your own directive? Of course not. So you're never going to win. That's bananas. And I think that speaks to a larger problem that we have a democratic parliamentary democracy, which we're also beholden to the crown. And so therefore the final decision makers are technically the crown. Well, how do you have a country? How can you be a big boy country like Canada with like 40 million people in it, where at the end of the day, everything gets deferred to the crown? Okay. Barry, the lawyer from the crown, is objecting, saying that Catherine's going on without any evidence. Good point, Homa Shalaga. Yeah, the prime minister is not the commander in chief, right? And I brought up the episode here. Where is it? So this is the channel here, my channel, obviously. I dramatically called this a coup d'etat. Judge just brought up a point. Why were the affidavits collected before they went into the legal process? And Catherine brought a good response that some were going to die, some were deployed, some wouldn't be able to actually make the affidavit for whatever physical reason, and need to get the evidence on record beforehand. Yeah, this is such a big freaking beast of a case. It just seems like this needs so much more in terms of resources. So much more in terms of resources. Yeah, you're right. He's not in the chain of command. He serves at the leisure. He's the nominated by the party, and don't forget, we don't vote for a prime minister, so that's why he's not there. And as Catherine pointed out last year, the reason why that system exists is due to the civil war between Cromwell and King James. King James. Either way, it was a way to make a what's the word I'm looking for? Not an appeasement, but to come to an agreement that the king will still be in power, but the PM will take care of the everyday affairs. So they said, okay, that's what we'll decide upon. So essentially, our system still reflects that. The king is still technically in charge, but in reality, he's not going to do anything here. So why do we still have him? Doesn't seem right. So in a republic, in a true republic, yeah, you have a commander in chief like in the United States. He's commander of the army, or the military, I should say. So that's why I salute him. Yeah, it's a good point. We should do a civics lesson here on the podcast. I need a refresher. Yeah. Okay, so Catherine is yeah. Catherine's putting the chain of command on trial, but the grievances aren't being heard. So you can't go through the traditional grievance policy. And COVID-19 is being used as the concrete example of the abuse of power thing. And there's a lot of us that had decisions made in the dark that aren't part of this for decades, right? You can go back to the decade of darkness. There's just tons of abuse of power. It's just the way we roll. It's just there's nobody with a spotlight on the CAF. This is the first time there's a huge spotlight on the CAF in a legal in a court setting, in a civic court. Yeah. Like if you can't get access to the justice system. Like that is enshrined in our Constitution. Then that is a breach of your charter rights. I think that's cut and dry. Catherine's bringing up the point that you can't reclaim damages. You can't claim damages in the military grievance system. So that's why we're here. I think the judge understands that. Could this could this case be the last nail in the coffin for the CAF? I mean, let's play this out. Let's say Catherine crushes it and she wins and it's like unanimous. Well, then there has to be sweeping changes to the CAF, and then there has to be a overhaul of all the procedures, and there has to be a means to enforce and ensure standardization across the board so that this can never happen again. And then that would imply to me an external verification, like objective board to do that. But then that requires a whole new set of rules and laws, because then the ones we have don't work anymore. It's makes my head hurt. I don't know. It basically implies that every like KRNO, DOAD, everything that we'd ever kind of like believed in really has no merit. I think that's ultimately what we're saying if she wins. And that's why I think this is going to be a tough one to win. I got 3 minutes there, folks. So we're going to start wrapping up. And I'll be following the Twitter feed from Drea to see what's going on. And you folks, I'm sure, will keep me up to date as well. But I appreciate you for tuning in this long. 249 people on a 3-hour live stream. Huge. So thanks for tuning in, and really appreciate you. If you hit the like button, make sure to hit subscribe as well if you haven't already done so. But I presume most of you have. They're already here. And we'll tune in again next week on Thursday for another live stream. And there's a lot of folks hopping on the podcast, and we're going to be chatting more about this general topic as a whole. And there's going to be some spicy episodes coming down the pipe. So stay tuned for that. The next 3 months are going to be interesting. Let's just put it that way. So thanks so much for tuning in, folks. I'm going to go, I think I'm going to go have a drink. First time in a long time. And I'll see you guys shortly. Train hard, fight easy. Peace.